Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 2017 edition of the Bizarre Briefing. I'm Bryce Castillo, joined as always with Brent Hughes.
Hey, that's me.
Max Gilliland.
What's going on?
And David Rowan.
What up?
This is the behind the scenes podcast where we talk about all things going on here at Bizarre Magic, like Scam School, Modern Rogue, Scam Stuff, the Night Attack, and Cord Killers, and Scam School Remix, and all sorts of good content for your face holes. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody.
Absolutely.
We just recorded an episode 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That episode just came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Doing good.
We're doing, look, it's busy times. I just got back from Las Vegas. So did Brian. We were at ScoopFest, and so everyone's busy doing stuff. Well, all sorts of stuff that we're going to talk about in this episode. But let's go down the list here of topics.
Okay.
Sure.
Brant,
Yo, what's up?
what's this about Scam School Remix?
Oh, yeah. So, well, two things. First, Jeff, who's not with us here today.
Oh yes, Jeff.
Oh, right, that guy. Yeah.
Jeff is a little swamped today, so he couldn't make it in for the sub briefing.
Yeah. But he's now working on some of the Scam School remixes, taking a little bit of that load off of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still doing some of them. This past week, we did the first Scam School remix of an episode that Bizarre Magic did production on the original Scam School episode.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
Yeah.
So, and that would be stuff within the past 4 years?
Stuff since December 2013.
Okay, yeah. So
Roughly 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Something like that.
About, yeah.
And so it was episode 306, which was just a couple episodes into our tenure as production goes. And yeah, so there were some interesting things about it, because this was the very first episode that I didn't have to bootleg off of YouTube.
Oh, right. You had source footage.
Very nice.
I had all of the footage that we used to shoot the episode with. I had all of the timelines and everything. And so, yeah, usually with Scam School Remix, I have to find the YouTube link to the old Scam School episode and then literally rip the video out of YouTube servers, and then it's like quadruple compressed by the end of the day. And it's a whole thing. And then also I can't change camera angles, I can't change music, I can't do anything like that.
So how much of tinkering with the original timeline did you do for this episode?
Okay, well, this episode, it's an interesting. It gave me an interesting moment of self-reflection.
Okay,
and how far I've come as an editor, because you have to remember right now, like, oh yeah, I'm such a great editor. I've put thousands of hours into editing. I've mastered my craft. But like when I started Scam School, I had never done a multi-camera edit before, save for a handful of extra credit videos. I had never done
Premiere, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I started Scam School, that's when I first started using Premiere. I had never done like a series project, anything that was regular and iterative. So it was a huge learning curve for me. And back like these days, there's a real structure to the edit, where it's like, we have template files and everything goes in its place. All the footage goes here. All of the dynamic link bits go here.
Yeah.
All of the sequences go here. All of the assets go here. And it's all very structured. Back then, it was far less structured. So it was just like things were named weird, and there was a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense. I did audio editing completely differently back then. So I stripped all that out and just completely redid the audio editing for this.
Nice.
And also, so there were a couple of interesting things that this brought to mind for me. First of all, music. I stripped the music out and put new music in.
Which you would have been able to do. Would you have used the original music, or would you have just let it cut as is?
I would have. originally I would just cut it up and not worry about music at all. So it'd be like choppy versions of
Whatever
what the
shitty
original
rock
episode.
song.
Sure.
Yeah, and the reason for that was twofold. One, it would be way smoother to just be like, oh well, here's just a music track straight through. Two, I didn't want to have to like find the music because all of the links to stuff was broken because I've moved the music since then.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I could go find those tracks and use the same tracks, but I'll just bring this one in here and it's fine. And then also, most people probably didn't notice. I mean, I haven't looked at the comments on this, but the reaction in this version different than the original episode.
Really?
Interesting.
Fun little turn of edits there.
For
Right here.
Like right
that,
there.
so these
That
did a
is
high five, which is not in the original.
that is not in the original edit.
Wow.
That's fun.
I mean, that's an option that you have now.
Yeah, and
Right.
It begged me to ask the question of revisionism and like what like the stated purpose of remix is, because I can imagine a form where remix is like this pure distillation of this is what you got and what you remember, and it is just compressed and cut down.
Right.
But I could also see the mentality and philosophy of it might not be what you remember because by like inherently it's not what you remember because it's so cut down and chopped up. So it's us going through with a more modern mentality and new sensibilities on what the video should be, and then basically correcting what the old video was. So in my mind, it kind of ended up being like, like the Star Wars despecialized editions.
Yeah.
Or like maybe even the opposite of that in this case. Well,
So an enhanced edition.
okay, so in this particular case, it's like Star Wars Despecialized Edition, which for people who don't know was a big fan restoration project to return Star Wars back to the theater cuts without the special effects and stuff.
Right.
In this case, it was like that for a version that never even got in theaters.
Okay.
So it was like
it's like a director's cut.
Sort of
Cutting room floor.
So the weird thing about this was usually we don't. So a lot of times whenever we shoot an episode of Scam School or whatever, we get a lot of pickups, right? Which is where we go in and get close-up detail shots from angles that we never could have gotten during the original run-through.
Right.
This was early enough in our run that we were a little extra cautious, so we would get like a lot of different takes. So at the end, we got a bunch of different takes of that reveal. We almost never get extra takes of reveals because you can't really fake reaction.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's also like
It's like really tough to make seem real.
yeah, because on one hand, people aren't actors and it's not going to be very convincing and people see through that. But also on the other hand, it's kind of like disingenuous to the purpose of the video.
Right.
So we really try hard not to do that. But in this particular instance, we weren't trying to get extra takes of reactions. We were trying to get extra takes of the buildup and reveal that went right before the reactions. And then we just got the reactions as a natural consequence of that. So when I was an earlier editor, I took the best take of that buildup and just let it roll through to the reaction instead of mixing the original reaction.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So,
So-
now you've gone
Yeah, that's
back and
interesting.
done that.
So I
Yeah.
went back and added the actual
real
original reaction because it felt more honest.
yeah.
And that was just like a really interesting and weird dynamic for me to think about.
Do you think, assuming that Remix continues to go into more current episodes, that you will take such a heavy hand in recutting and going directly into the source footage, or is there like in my mind the transition would be you would take the original file and the original footage and make a no music version, a no music render, and then cut with that. But if you have the original source footage, I don't know. Like, do you see yourself doing the same workflow going forward? Because it seems like it would add extra time to the process.
Sure. And it definitely did take what would normally be like a 2-hour edit and extend it out to be a 6 to 8 hour edit. I think early on, especially, I'm definitely thinking about workflow, because that's something that at the beginning of Scam School I didn't really think about workflow because I didn't know what I was in for. When we started Remix, I was very aware of workflow, so that's built with like a minimum footprint in the edit, and so it's built with that in mind. I'm definitely thinking about it going forward, because at some point there will be no escaping it. We'll only have episodes left that we produced.
Yeah.
So it's a problem that needs to be solved earlier rather than later. I think ideally at a certain point, we would use the original footage like I did here and the original timelines like I did here, but there would be probably less nitpicking and fine tuning that happened here. Here, there's a lot of things that played like I'm like, this is something that I worked on and I wanted to look good and I wanted to feel good. And I went through and also redid the color grading and stuff like that. And also I went through, there was a weird thing of, there was a whole thing with the close-ups. So we shot pickups, but we did it on a different day than we originally did. Yeah. So this is one of the very few times this has ever happened. So a little bit of backstory. This is one of 2 to 3 episodes where I accidentally deleted all of Zach's footage.
Oh no!
So Zach Holder used to work with us, and he was one of the camera operators on this episode, which is why there are only 2 perspectives.
I did notice there was a lot of digital zooming on the master shot.
Yes. So this was before we had a fine-tuned system of placing cards in very specific areas, so that way we don't reuse memory cards. Back then, we just took all of the memory cards, put them in a slot in a bag where all of the fresh memory cards were.
Oh, God.
But this was also back in the time when we didn't shoot more than 2 episodes per night.
Sure.
So it's like we never needed to use more cards than that. So we never realized that there was going to be a problem. And of course, like the first time that we decided to shoot a bunch of episodes, something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
So that day, all of Zach's footage was gone.
Yeah.
And
the whole day. So multiple, or just a couple episodes.
2 to 3 episodes. It was just whatever was on that one card.
Yeah.
So that night, as I got back here at Brian's house and started archiving everything and backing stuff up, I had like kind of a meltdown, and I was super freaking out, especially because it's like, oh, I just started working on Scam School and it's this big thing, and then I just screwed up really bad. And so Brian had to like talk me down off the edge, and it was a real rough thing, but. We had to go back the next day to shoot stand-ups, and we decided to do it at Moon Tower Saloon, where we shot that episode.
Yeah.
And I realized it would behoove us to get extra pickups because we almost certainly lost a bunch of them when that card got overwritten.
Oh, right.
It was a bit of a problem because Marcus Eddy was in that episode, and he flew out that day. So he was no longer
have
here.
him in his hands.
Yeah.
So all of those pickups are like tight close-ups without hands or with Brian's hands. And so I was going through this remix and I was like, oh no, there's no pickups. So I was using footage from the render, which had the test tube thing and the little watermark in the corner.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is a mess. And then eventually I found it and remembered that all of this disaster happened. And it was a whole thing. Theoretically, future remixes of stuff that we've put together will be much easier than that.
So one thing I noticed is this graphic here, like about 3 minutes. Is this a new graphic?
No. So those are the assets that are actually missing, like for real gone.
Oh, yeah.
So we had those assets, and I guess I just never backed them up properly or something. So what you're seeing there is actually from the original render, and scaled up slightly, so that way it hides the watermark in the top right corner.
Well done.
But those were originally in the episode, and yeah, those are the bits that I had to pull off. But technically, I could recreate pretty much most of that because
it looked like it was screenshots.
There were like frames from the close-ups, which I did eventually find, and the quarter was like some public
Stock.
domain
Gotcha.
thing, and so I could recreate that, but I just whatever. It's a remix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but you feel good about it, like
I
better
do.
than.
And I think it'll be a really nice welcome addition to things. It takes a little bit more prep work because you have to go back and download all of the footage, and in some cases this is like 100 gigs, 200 gigs or something. Although back then it wasn't that much nearly, but
Right.
you know, there's a lot of footage for just a Scam School Remix episode, and then you kind of have to link everything back up. Premiere's pretty good about like once you find one file, it finds the rest of them.
Yeah. But it's still a process.
It's a bit more work than just saying here's one file that I'm working with. But it is really nice to go, oh yeah, there was some weird like camera switching going on here, or like, oh, this didn't really play well, and I remember all of the comments saying that this didn't really work. So it's like I could go back in and like clarify that bit, and I can add text on the screen to make sure that people understand what's happening, or I could change the cameras and all that stuff. So it's a lot more freedom. It's more work, but it's more freedom, which is nice.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to more modern retakes on Scam School Remix.
Absolutely.
And someday it'll just be Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good luck.
Fingers crossed. Max and David.
What's up?
Hey.
We are at the tail end of September.
True.
And I mean, if we haven't already started, we will certainly be in the midst of holiday shopping very soon.
Yes, indeed.
It looks like maybe we've got some stuff on the slate for Scam Stuff.
Yeah. I don't know how much we can reveal, but I would say in October, there will be at least an October surprise.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Hopefully better than last
Maybe.
year's.
Possibly.
Or no, that was not November. Politics.
Possibly a surprise with a capital S, and then maybe a lowercase surprise as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So let's keep it vague, right? Are these new products, original products? How?
They will both bring to mind other products, but
Okay.
they will be new in and of themselves.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. The holiday season is always, of course it's super busy for the retail side of things, but that also is normally especially last year when we were doing the videos every week, always doing like either a sales promotion or adding a bunch of new products to, find something new for everybody and different takes. So I'm looking forward to this holiday season.
And in October, there is a Friday the 13th. How great is that? That's in October.
Yeah.
Nice.
That has to be a holiday for somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
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 What if Halloween was on October Friday the 13th?
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, that's really cool. Anything else on the store? Any new updates? I've seen that the Twitter is still churning.
Yeah,
I think
we've
that's really
actually,
great.
Tweeting.
I guess, grown by about 10% since we started that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great.
a week
Yeah.
or
It's
two
amazing
ago.
what happens when you use that thing.
When you actually use the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we send out things on there probably daily. We'll probably start to send out more stuff as we get more subscribers, and maybe even have some sort of giveaway when we reach a landmark subscriber amount, like 1,000 or something like that.
Nice.
Or maybe might even do one at 500. Why not?
There you go.
Twitter.com/scamstuff.
There you go. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And then
Now, which one is it? Both of you guys working on the Twitter? Like, because it used to be that Brant was like just had the key to it, but
Yeah.
we weren't really using it much at all.
I think
anyway.
I even made it because I was like, well, this seems like a no-brainer, like duh. And then people would just send me stuff, and I'd be like, no, you should really send like an email to support because I'm just a dude. I don't even work on this side of the business.
Well, what's amazing is that like some people will really want to get a hold of you, so they will reply to the email, like their order email, and then they will also email directly. And then we've had one that has decided to @reply on Twitter as well. He's like, wherever you are, I'm getting to you.
We've gotten that on YouTube comments.
Yeah.
And just this past week, someone
Reddit.
posted in the Modern Rogue Reddit about some issue, which is tough because like I check that Reddit once every couple days. So when I saw it, it was like 4 days old.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't mind if they, send a couple emails or @reply. The one thing that they tend to do occasionally that's kind of like a bit of a chore because we have to go in and kind of remove it is they leave a review which has nothing to do with the product that they're leaving the review on. It's more like, hey, I haven't gotten this yet. Can you send me tracking 1 star?
Oh, jeez.
And you're like, well,
It's a little ridiculous.
It's a good product, so we can't publish that as a review. But if you need to get tracking, just shoot us an email. We'll help you out.
Yeah, it's tough. When you're buying, like when you buy something from Amazon, you know that you can just go to the Amazon page and hit the contact button and fucking live chat with some robot and get information. But when it's a smaller place like this, I think not everyone easily makes the jump of like
Sure.
the best way to do it is to just send an email, please. It's not Brent or I or even Brian probably will see stuff and the best we can do is kick it over to you guys because I have no access.
Too much, yeah.
I think I do have access to Shopify, but I don't know that I've even got in there more than once.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
we'll keep an eye out and make sure stuff goes over to you.
But the biggest thing, I guess, was the firewalls. Is that?
That's right. The
think
firewall
that was awesome.
came out. We did a product video for that.
Yeah.
That was. I'm really happy with how that video turned out.
Well, you did it. So.
But there are times sometimes where we do stuff what I was specifically happy about it because when we shot the discussion portion of it with John Maverick, we really didn't know what it was. Like we had just wrapped up the Beads episode, which just came out on Wednesday, and I was like, "Hey, start the cameras. We're going to talk about the Fire Wallet," and it was like,
All right.
Okay. And like when we were done, I don't know, there was a funny moment when we were done where Brian was like, "Is that it? Did we get it?" And I was like, "I get
Probably.
Do you have any way?" It's a tough thing because a lot of times with the product videos we go in not knowing what the video will be, but we at least have some sort of structure. Like when we did the card throwing targets and the gold cards, it's like, okay, it'll be Brian and Max, and they'll talk about it. They'll demonstrate it. They'll compare it, and that's a structure you can work on. Where the discussion was a good discussion. It was very organic, which I think helped it flow from beginning to end. But it was just it was going in a little more blind.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, there was a document that actually did outline the points. I just don't think the document made it to that shoot. I think that might have been one of those ones where we have time. He's here. Let's just see what we can get out of this. But
you know what? And I feel like I remember that document.
Yeah.
Seeing it briefly at one point.
Well, I reached out to Brent Braun, friend of the store, and just kind of asked him to reach out to the people he knew who used the wallet as professionals and see if there's anything they'd like to share. And so there were a handful of tips that you might not be immediately aware of or haven't been able to just kind of like naturally intuit. Obviously, the basic idea is pretty straightforward.
Right.
Pull a wallet out of your pocket and it bursts into flames. Right? Isn't that great? And then it goes back to looking like a regular wallet, which is kind of the magical part.
But there are a lot of complications with it, right?
But there's some nuance to using it. There's some alternative ways to use it. Like one of the ones that Brian mentioned in the video was instead of making it like, so obvious, which is kind of how we sold it, but there's a subtle way to use it too, which is to just kind of have it in someone's peripheral vision
and use it.
And by
do
the time they
effect.
look over to it, it's extinguished, and they're like, "Was your was your wallet just on fire?" And you're like,
right.
"It's the silliest." Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, but so
And it's information like that helped that conversation go be descriptive about the function of fire wallets, as well as talk about this specific SKU.
yeah. Well, Max was able to put together a GIF from that video, and it's probably one of my favorite GIFs. It's on the
That was
product
beautiful.
page.
Yeah.
For the fire wallet, and it's just John Maverick at the table having it on fire, and it's at the top. Yeah,
There we go. Yeah, yeah.
And then you just scroll down here. Let's see.
I was gonna say you guys did a really
Oh, that's
great
great.
job.
I
For
just look at
lighting
if you look at his eyes.
Yeah.
It can't have been easy to shoot open flame in the bar. I would imagine just
Well,
the lighting would be terrible.
Well, actually, because we shot we shot the opening and the B-roll for that footage at Kung Fu Saloon, where last week's episode was it last week's last week's episode about cryptarithmetic was filmed at.
Yeah.
And so we filmed that after we had done those episodes of Scam School with David, by the way, who did a really good job of like
for just grabbing it and going, let's go do this.
yeah. But in terms of like lighting it was actually not so bad, right? The bar was kind of darker, but we have low light lenses that are better with that stuff. And the toughest thing about that was getting reactions. We have a lot of like takes of like people being like mildly amused that
Right.
they saw a fire,
Yeah.
a flame appear.
Well, there was
Right.
it was more of like the strategy was we don't have a lot of time to do this,
Yeah.
right? So let's just go for quantity, and then we can select for quality.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah.
because if we're trying to have this ideal thing where it works for this one person, we might only have 3 or 4 shots to choose from. Whereas if we just go up to a dozen or more,
Right.
yeah.
we'll be able to have some stuff. So
if I
that's a
could
cool
share,
shot right there.
that
with
is-
the
that
slow-mo
is
shot,
beautifully
yeah.
Slow
done,
motion
yeah.
was great. I had to share a fun editing trick about this first reaction, the with the redheaded woman.
Put After Effects and made her smile.
No, but in the original reaction, it kind of took her a while to react. She was like, it's tough because in the moment you've got a really good kind of stunned person,
Right.
Yeah.
But here where we don't even have nat sound, it's like you kind of need her to react a little bigger. And so this clip
Speed it up a little bit?
is sped up
Nice.
by about 10 or 15%.
Really?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then it's got warp stabilizer on it to kind of help clean up some of the shakiness. But yeah, that was one where it's like it was just on the edge of being a good shot, but it was a little too long to get to where it needed to be, especially in this opening where it was a little more set to music.
Yeah, she sort of almost does the same thing. I think that that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think that when something's on fire, your initial thing is sort of a shock. Should I be alarmed?
Right.
And then
Is it a
once you
problem?
realize it's not going to be a problem, then you have that reaction, right? Then you have that, oh, all right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great, kind of thing. So it's an interesting prop to carry around to get that kind of reaction from people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it really was successful. The other reaction shot that we show right at the beginning of the discussion is with our friend Stacy, who Stacy was very adamant
About being in this.
that we record her reaction because she saw it before we were filming reactions. She saw it and like had a big like reaction. She's very like charismatic and very very I don't know. She's big. She's got a big personality.
Animated.
Animated. is good.
Yeah, yeah.
But we told her, well, man, now we can't fucking film you doing it because you just saw it. And it's not going to be a reaction. And so all night, like we had just finished Scam School and we were changing gears, and so like all night and between us shooting a Modern Rogue ad, also at Kung Fu, she's like, come on, just film me. I'll do it. I'll just do it. I'll do it. I'm a good actor. I swear. Like, fine. And it ended up being good. It ended up being
That's
like,
awesome.
It looked a lot
Oh,
better. on
it's a
the-
little
Looks great. Yeah.
It's a little big of a reaction.
Well, she
but
could have gone overboard and spit out the drink.
She could have.
Onto the fire wallet to extinguish it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Alcohol does good with that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think cooking on it for a little while of us telling her, you're not an actress. It's not going to, whatever.
Yeah.
It ended up being fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and the graphic at the beginning is cool too, just with the fire on the text.
Yeah, that was
this-
nicely done.
This was really interesting because
Bam.
it was not 100% sure how I wanted to do it. So it's like the words fire wallets kind of appear as a flame-like sort of texture comes in underneath it. This is it does use footage from the shoot that day. It's a little scaled up, but it's using I've forgotten it, a track mat, I think is what it's called in Premiere. So it's using a title that says Fire Wallet as a alpha mask, basically. So the parts where there is text, you should have video footage, and all that video footage is set as like an overlay. It's either an overlay or a screen. It is a screen because it that's how you get the transparency effect. And so the footage has been color corrected, so it's very dark. And so it's only when it's really light and the fire comes out that it actually starts to appear. And then I think I doubled that up a couple times because the screen effect is not always very prominent.
Yeah.
And then there's also it artificially oranged a bit. There's an orange color mat that comes in underneath it to help kind of make it more visible. But yeah, I was really proud of it. And when you watch it in HD, you can kind of see like a I don't know, you start to see like little dust particles before it comes in to kind of tease it. I was really proud of it. That was a good moment.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
But the sales have been great. They're so great, in fact, that we've sold out. We're in back order, but they should. If anybody orders one between now and then, they'll go out in less than a week. So
very cool. Scamstuff.com. I want to talk about not ScamFest. Jesus Christ, ScoopFest from Las Vegas, which is where we just got back from.
Excellent.
We talked about this in the last episode, which came out after we got back. But we did a live night attack at ScoopFest, which is Brian's comedy podcast, if you don't know, as well as most of Brian's stage show. So I think we were not... I think what the scope of Brian's stage show was not... didn't fully make it all the way through the planning process. So the stage show was booked as like... it was booked as like a set break for a cover band that was doing a music show of like they called it the Nerd versus Jock Prom, which is kind of a thing that they do on the Ice Cream Social. So everyone dressed up in costumes and inside references, and this band was playing different, doing covers of different sorts of songs, and the stage show was meant to be a break between one of their sets. But I don't know that anyone quite knew that it was an hour-long stage show, a pretty dense hour show. And we also, on top of that, we're going to work in Justin Robert Young's all set up magician bit into the stage show, which we've been doing a lot at this live events. And so we get there and we're setting up, and it's the sort of thing where like the band's going to be on stage for like 4 hours. So they have to get sound checked and everything first. And so we can't even be on stage really for most of the setup. So like we're right in front of the stage on the dance floor, setting up the chairs for Brian's show, because Brian's show is very like chairs. The setup is chair centric, right? This chair has nail in the eye. This chair.
You got 4 chairs. Everything's on a chair or under a chair.
You've also got stools. You've got the easels. Like it's very prop heavy.
It is
for a magic show. And
he doesn't do EVP anymore, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, that's a good one.
So we knew we were going to cut something to fill time for the all setup magician. Justin did a great job with that this time, and so I think we ended up. The first thing that we cut was, Simpatico.
Okay.
I was just thinking about that in my head right now.
Yeah.
Legitimately though, and there's the irony is
and then we're setting up, and we've got the he's filled his gas canister, and he's got the torches, and the one for the space, the venue's called the Space. The one for the Space was like, "You're not gonna light this on fire, are you?" It's like, yeah,
possibly.
To which we were told, hey, don't do that. Because in Vegas you need
pyrotechnic license or whatever.
Yeah.
well
permit or something.
you need a fire handling license, and the venue has a pyrotechnic license, and they were afraid that they would lose that if we did this act without the right license from the fire marshal. So we had to cut fire eating. Which is like
it goes through the motions, but there's just no fires.
Well, and that's the very big intro to the magic show,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's kind of a tough thing to lose.
Yeah.
Initially we were also going to lose all of the video intros because it's like
Oh man.
it's like 10 minutes of video before the show, right? You've got
Sure.
the film riot sketch. You've got the new, like, hey, Brian's got crazy hair, or had crazy hair now.
Brian Rushwood has been doing magic ever since he was a kid.
And then you've got the kid footage, which is also really fun. And the idea was like, well, if we're gonna be right after a band, let's just get into it and not make it a thing. Because if it's like for the band, people will probably be listening and hanging out or something, but we want to like keep that party vibe a little bit. And then I think when we were told, please don't do the fire, we ended up going the opposite way and saying, okay, we need to let people know that they need to stop what they're doing and pay attention because a show is about to happen.
Right. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And just
so-
told them the fire. This is a cold burning fire.
Yeah. Did you ever see Game of Thrones? It's the ice dragon.
Yeah, right.
Did you just do Straight Jacket like 8 times in a row?
No, we didn't even do Straight Jacket. So
Oh, man.
we cut Human Crazy Straw. Oh, that's right. We cut Human Crazy Straw earlier in the
good.
day
Get
because
rid of it.
Right?
Such a hassle.
It's
It's the worst one.
It's a very large hassle to do because it's like it's interesting, right? It's a very
cool to watch.
interesting thing, and he drinks the mixture, and it's like it's crazy, but it is such a pain to
It is.
clean up. And so at when we landed, our ScoopFest contact, we sent along, hey, we're gonna need these things that we can't bring because they're either fresh food, they're produce or something, or it's gasoline, and we can't travel with that. And so we landed and we're like, oh yeah, I read that, but we did not get you any.
Perfect.
And so
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
And so
Yeah.
it's like, well, we went to go make a run for the stuff that we needed, but we were like, let's just cut Human Crazy Straw anyway, like whatever. But also, so I don't know. We've cut a couple of things. We cut the knife trick also.
Okay.
Because partly because it's kind of a longer trick, and it's a little like a lower energy thing. It's very tense, but it starts at very low energy.
Also, you need apples.
We did get an apple.
That's the one thing they got. Is like, here, we got you this apple.
No, we had to go get apples because
Okay,
we got poster boards too.
Gotcha.
And
Does the Straight Jacket still smell bad? I feel like it's always smelled bad. I don't think it's
now
ever
that he's
been
not-
washed.
I think
Can't
now that
take
he's-
it to the dry cleaner. I mean,
I think now that he's not doing it every day, he I think it smells all right. Him not wearing it every day or 100 times a year
Yeah.
is helping. I don't know if he's washed it.
Okay. Sure.
So we stop and Justin goes up and does the all set up magician, and it's a great bit. It's also pretty long. He's going for like.
What's the basic idea?
So the idea is that he is Carson Davis Young,
Okay.
the all set up magician, and all he does is set up magic tricks.
Oh, right, but he never actually gets to.
But there's no punchline
right,
to
right.
him.
Payoff,
So,
yeah.
so he's like, pick a card.
Right. It's lost in the deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I need another volunteer. And it was great. He's really killing it, but he's going kind of long. And so at this point, the sound guy is like, so how much longer is Brian's set? Because he knows that Brian's about to go back up and finish his show. And I go, well, probably another 15 or 20 minutes, because he still had to do Mr. Happy Pants. He still had to do the Straight Jacket. And Justin still had however long was left in his bit. And I was, oh, okay. And he starts making this face like that's way long. You guys are going way longer than anybody thought you would.
Whoops.
Because I think they only expected us to do like 30 minutes.
Type 5. Type 5.
So we were gonna do Straight Jacket, and we ended up cutting that at the very last minute
man.
and going out on Mr.
Happy
Happy
Pants.
Pants, which
That's
is
a good-
a
that's a
fine.
good-
Well,
yeah.
That's a
you can end
fine
with
way
that,
to
yeah.
end it. But it was so weird that we just like cut a lot of stuff out for this very big show in Brian's mind. In Brian's head, this was an incredibly like, it is right. He's doing it in Las Vegas. Magic people were there. The potential for big people to see it was pretty high. So that was that. It was a neat show. I really didn't have to do anything. We had at the point where we had started the show, we had cut almost everything I would have needed to help him with, just in terms of like staging or blocking or striking stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just got to enjoy. I never get a chance to see all of Skewer Through Tongue, and,
Sure.
and that's fun.
Gotta do a bit of cleanup after that, usually.
Yeah. Well, I did a little bit of that.
in the hospital visit.
Mop up the
But
blood.
during it, you're cleaning up Human Crazy Straw.
That's true.
And so, like, you miss like all of the whole intro and stuff. And then, what was the other one? We ended up adding. We did do simpatico. We did do simpatico.
I was just thinking about that. Like literally right this moment.
And I don't really get a chance to see simpatico much either because I'm usually still cleaning Human Crazy Straw.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And you don't really do anything during simpatico.
Yeah.
So that was the ScoopFest live show. The Night Attack was really good. That's out now at nightattack.tv. We did Don't Get Brodied again. Or we didn't do it at DragonCon, so we did it here. Don't Get Brodied is a really fun game where people in the audience come up and have to tell interesting stories. And if anybody on the panel loses interest, they get cut off and thrown out.
Literally.
They cut off the head, dump the body out a window.
Toss you.
And whoever's story goes the longest is the winner. And so there were a lot of really good stories. Matt and Paul from the Social Hour Ice Cream Social. I keep calling it Ice Cream Social Hour, which is not right. It's the Ice Cream Social. They joined on stage for that, and it was a good episode. And then we enjoyed Vegas. We had a good sort of longer weekend in Vegas. Me and Justin went to like a 5-star brunch buffet.
How was the blackjack?
The blackjack was good. I was up for most of the weekend. There was one point where I had basically doubled. I was double where I was at, and then that last day I had a little bit of free time, so lost all of that.
I can't imagine
That's Vegas.
enjoying Vegas.
Really?
Like, it just feels so opposite of anything I would ever want.
I can feel that for you, especially because you don't like crowds,
Lights.
or drinking.
Drinking,
Food.
But I was a similar
Games of
way
chance.
before, because I don't know. I like drinking. I don't have a lot of money to gamble with. I don't go out to pool parties or any of the big nightlife club stuff. But I did enjoy myself. There are a lot of different attractions to go to. I went to the World of Coke. They've got the international tray of like sodas.
Sodas. Yeah.
But it's like no. But
This one's from Colombia, and this one's from wait, what?
Ecuador.
yeah.
Give me some of that Diet Colombian.
But it's like it's sodas from around the world. And it's a weird thing. It's also a
That's
lot of
cool, though, yeah.
it is really cool.
Do they have Buckfast? Oh, wait, that's not soda.
Buckfest?
What is Buckfast?
Buckfast?
Buckfast is some people know Buckfast.
Okay, no, they did have this one drink, and they have it at the Coke World at Disney Epcot too, called Beverly. Do you guys know Beverly?
No.
Not personally.
So Beverly is a discontinued Italian soft drink.
Ooh.
That was created to taste. I believe it was created to taste like a. I want to say it was created to taste like an alcoholic drink, like a vodka drink.
So like Buckfast. Gotcha. Okay, great.
But it's god awful, and it doesn't have any alcohol in it, and you're never expecting it, and it's not good. It's not any good. And so like that's one of the last drinks that they give you on the tray, on the international soda tray thing.
It's like O'Doul's for cocktails.
Yeah, and also no good.
And,
Like I think the only reason.
well,
So that was Vegas. Vegas was a lot of fun. And you can see that episode of Night Attack now at nightattack.tv. So that's your ScoopFest debriefing.
That's the ScoopFest scoop.
The ScoopFest scoop. Oh, that's great. So this weekend, we've got a big guest coming in.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing the Modern Rogues Weekend, which is one of our Patreon goals, or not goals, rewards are like $10,000.
Titan.
Yeah.
Titan?
Yep. Called our bluff.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called.
Okay. Our Modern Rogues.
Look it up. Read a book.
So,
Damn it, Laura.
so good friend of Brian and all of the various shows, Brad is coming into town. I don't know what day. I don't know what his itinerary is, but Saturday and Sunday
Don't dox him. He's gonna be at the Hilton downtown.
Room
802.
1432. Yeah.
And we've got like a lineup of things to do with him.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing some stunt ranch stuff. He's going to be building stuff with the guys. They're doing some sort of build.
Yeah, what if they had him do all the things that they weren't you afraid to do? Like, you drink the prison wine.
I mean, I'm sure we would have people who would be interested in doing it, right? Plenty of people call us pussies. Call them
Sign
pussies.
here, sign here.
Yeah.
God, I've deleted so many comments on that video.
Not
I
even
bet.
surprised, yeah.
So many.
We're also going to be hanging out at the Speakeasy where we shoot the mixology stuff. And there's a third thing. Oh, whiskey. They're doing a whiskey sommelier tour thing with Daniel
Whittington.
Daniel Whittington from the Wizard Academy.
Somalia makes a whiskey?
Oh, Jesus. So that'll be an interesting thing. I think, so we're gonna be filming some of it just to like film the experience of it.
Yeah.
We need to work out. Do you want to really quick like figure out? Because my thinking was, we each take one day, one of the 2 days, and just do a one camera like tag along, getting footage of it.
Put a GoPro on his
Sure.
forehead.
Don't
just
even
call
do
it
audio
good.
or just do nat sound.
Yeah, I figured it was gonna be just basically B-roll that would be cut into some kind of promo thing
Yeah.
or something. I figured I would probably take a similar approach to what I do for weddings or live events or something, where it's just like just bounce around, get a bunch of different angles of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to see, because I know they're doing a build with him,
Yeah,
but I don't, part of me,
I think that
see here on Sunday, Jason says, for Sunday, I'd like to do a build episode with Brad at the warehouse. And now I don't know if that's going to be like an episode of Modern Rogue or them just building something.
It's like a birdhouse.
I feel like it would be an episode, but we should clarify.
We
with
need to
Jason.
figure that out, because then that changes everything. Or that changes Sunday to be like, we were doing a full shoot, and that is different. So
Right.
that's tough. But it'll be a cool time.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully the stunt ranch is not a million fucking degrees.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully it's not raining.
actually,
well,
A very good check. Let's see.
I don't know. That might make it more rad.
Yeah,
You just go
we will
mudding
let-
instead of drifting.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Saturday and Sunday look
Good
clear.
time. Okay.
So all this drizzle stuff should be done by Friday.
120% humidity, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So so that's the Modern Rogue weekend. Hopefully I'm sure we'll have some sort of update on it next episode, talking about what happened. And then I don't know what or when a promo video of it will come out.
Yeah.
But that's coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of a. My understanding is it's kind of in a nebulous state, but I think Brian and Jason have a much better idea of what's going on with that.
Yeah. The only weird vector is like, if we're doing a proper episode, is he on the episode with them building? How many episodes are we doing? Like, I there are details in that we need to nail out with Jason then.
Sure. If it is a full episode, I would imagine it would be one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Because then that's, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll just see.
We're pretty far ahead on episodes these days, which is pretty good. We've got like
Yeah.
12
Oh,
Okay.
12 episodes
We
that
need
are
to-
unreleased.
nicely done.
And 3 halves of episodes.
All right.
Basically,
Which just need to be finished, or
two episodes that we filmed halfway through and then weren't able to finish for X reason.
Whatever reason.
And then
I would put
never
$100.
finished.
Yeah,
Oh.
I would put $100 that neither of them did cryptocurrency stuff yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Which at the time they said, "Oh, we'll do it next week."
We'll do it next week, and yeah.
That was like 3 months ago.
And I think after this weekend, next weekend we have another Modern Rogue shoot. We have a lot of we're doing a lot of all weekend Modern Rogue shoots, which is taxing.
Yeah, we have 3 scheduled shoots, maybe 4 scheduled shoots over the next month.
Wow. Full month.
Which is tough because and it's because like Jason and I don't coordinate shoot schedule stuff, but it ends up oftentimes being weeks when we do Scam School. We'll also have Saturday and Sunday Modern Rogue shoots, which is tough, and we're really behind on Scam School, and we really need to shoot a lot of those like this month because between all the travel stuff and various other things, we just haven't gotten as many Scam Schools as we need to. So I'll talk to Jason about that just because it's really taxing, and I know it's like a big drain on you, like when we do a Thursday Scam School shoot and you have Modern Rogue for Friday
Right.
to post on Friday, and then on top of that also have a whole weekend of Modern Rogue stuff.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
eats into typically unallotted time that is not always the most mentally easy.
Yeah.
Easy situation.
It can. Yeah.
We have one last topic here. What is this? What do you do to free your mind of the mortal quote? Is this asking what you do on your time off?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's time off?
Yeah. I've been there.
Okay.
It's not funny to you, yeah.
Well, I think people. Did you just finish Witcher 3?
I did 2 days ago.
Okay.
So longtime fans of the show will remember 3 weeks ago when I started The Witcher 3.
Right.
Yeah, I put right at about 100 hours into it.
Finish that 3 weeks. Jesus, man.
And it's very good. It's quite excellent. It's one of the best games I've ever played. And one of these days I'll get into DLC, but I kind of had to take a reprieve for a little while.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day because I don't know. I've been in kind of a weird space the past few weeks. And sometimes a little bit of escapism is welcome. And so, stuff like that. The fact that I put 100 hours into it in 3 weeks is the reason why I don't play games very often. Like when I got into Rocket League, I put 400 hours into it, 500 hours into it.
Yeah.
So like I try to stick to movies and games and stuff, or music and stuff, and not games. But also last night I watched Arrival, and it was still really excellent.
Arrival's great.
Absolutely.
Even better than I remember in theaters. And yeah, I was just wondering what you guys kind of do to kind of get that mental release, that
Let's go down the line.
align yourself.
Like Max, what do you do to like unwind?
Man, I go to the shooting range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You a big gun guy?
No, yeah, serious. Like, after a rough day at work, man, just, go to the range and, 12-gauge buckshot. It's awesome. Good time.
After a rough day at work,
Yes.
Max goes to the shooting range.
That is correct.
I feel super safe.
Those old posters we have with, Brian's face.
Well, there you go. That's right.
Yeah, the huge ones. Okay. All right. I mean, I understand that.
a good
I
time.
shot guns before.
sure.
It's a very interesting physical response.
Yeah, there's nothing else quite like it. Yeah, and it's, just be safe. Don't be stupid.
Of course.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah. Do you rent at the range, or do you have a or is
this
that
and that? Yeah. There's a underground bunker somewhere full of explosives. But besides that, it's you don't know if I'm lying.
You know what? Well, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I know you like games. You play some video games.
Yeah. I've been Man, I've been playing Destiny 2 just solid.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. That's
No, we said games.
Oh, really? Oh, not lifestyles, just really? No, I can't.
Yeah, Destiny 2. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
To
it's
people.
been a good thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good thing.
Cool. David, like,
What's up?
what about you? How do you unwind? What does David do?
Mostly just a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay.
Classic. Classic.
Diet Coke, right? Yeah. It's,
Yeah. I have the podcast that I try to regularly update, the Minimum Podcast.
That's right.
And then right now I'm unpacking. That's taking up a lot of free time. And I solve a series of chess problems every day, as I think I mentioned last
Oh
time.
yeah, we did talk about that last time.
And that's kind of my version of gaming is going classic and Russian, I guess.
Yeah.
National pastime over there. A lot of books, read books. Sometimes I get into shows. Sometimes I get in like old 90s sitcoms like Frasier. Watched
Okay.
Frasier all the way through like twice.
Brant just
Yeah.
watched
You
through
guys,
Frasier
Yeah.
Yeah.
a couple
And,
months ago.
Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place, or Two Guys and a Girl is also one from the late 90s. That's probably nobody knows about, but I watched it.
I don't know that I ever
times.
watched Two Guys and a Girl, but I definitely
Yeah.
it's a sort of a thing where like just on name alone it was well known.
Right. It was like, oh,
Right?
yeah.
It's like, oh, okay,
You've
so
heard
it's
of
just
it,
gonna
yeah.
be
Yeah, 2.5 Men kind of has the same sort of title, right? It's like, it's one of those ones that you've heard, you recognize it from
Mike and Molly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
What about Ally McBeal?
Ally McBeal. You know what?
wow. Yeah.
So when it comes to lawyer, Boston Legal, I would prefer probably over Ally McBeal.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
Boston
Boston
Legal
Legal.
was a spin-off.
My name
from-
is Titus.
My name is Earl.
My name is Earl.
Well, my name is
was-
Earl
that
was the
was
thing,
good, yeah.
but the one with Titus, was it just called Titus?
There was a show called Titus. Yeah, it was like
Okay.
I don't know
the
about that.
With Titus Andromedon
no,
or,
the big
or not?
he's like a tall guy with blonde hair. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. He was a comedian.
Roman- God,
Christopher Titus.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Yeah, there
Oh.
he is. Hey,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not expect this Smash Mouth looking fucker.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Wowzers.
I don't remember the last time I watched any. If you want a good lawyer
Yeah,
show, though, the
man.
show Damages is really great. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody watched Damages. I think it was a Showtime series. Yeah.
I
Sounds good.
Royal Pains is kind
No,
of
I
a
haven't seen
similar.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
good. Now we're just thinking. Now we're
Did you go to
just
shows?
talking
Did you
about
go to
all
shows?
of
Yeah.
it.
This is going to blend back into the podcast that was recorded like an hour
Early
ago.
2000s.
Back into shows. But yeah, so I get sucked into TV a lot, and I actually kind of have to be like mindful of that because like video games, I can just spend hundreds of hours, like having to watch entire seasons. So
Yeah.
How do books work? Because I don't really understand.
Well, you read like 2 pages, and then you go, "That's about good enough. Let's go back to the TV."
Okay.
Holds up the table,
Sure.
I think. It's usually.
We just had Mike TV on in studio for Cord Killers,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh yeah, I read like 10 minutes a night, and then I immediately like fall asleep." And it's like, "Hey, you know what? Hey,
Yeah,
it works."
well,
It's
yeah.
10 minutes.
It
You're,
still
you're
counts,
going to get
right.
through something.
Yeah.
I find that reading at night is kind of the most natural place that shows up, but it's the least productive reads ever because that happens.
Yeah.
You're done with it really soon. Like the best time is like afternoon, I think.
Yeah.
Where you just sit there, the sunlight out, and you spend a good hour with it. But that's probably more rare than trying to cram in 10 or 15 minutes before bedtime.
Yeah.
So
don't think I've read a book since college.
really,
Really?
I just can't do it.
But the Indian- the Indian in the
audiobooks
cupboard?
either.
Really?
Oh,
I definitely
really?
can't do audiobooks because I get distracted.
really,
Yeah,
Oh,
just-
just by whatever's visually going on.
Yeah, I will want to
okay.
multitask, and then I have to
Oh,
because I do
yeah.
this with
Do the same
podcasts all the
thing.
time, and I
Yeah.
multitask, and it's like I have to keep
Yep.
sketching back
I do the exact same
because
thing.
I've not
Yeah,
paid
still-
attention.
yep.
I tried to listen to a talk, an hour-long talk that I really love, and then I was doing other stuff at the time. It's like I'm not even
Yeah.
paying attention, and it sucked because I really liked that talk.
Yeah,
Commuting.
right.
Yeah,
commuting
that's-
Because
Yeah,
it kind of
that's the way to
forces
do it.
you to
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
listen
absolutely,
because
Because you were
everything
focusing
else-
on the road,
which
and
is
you don't
mostly
really-
autopilot.
Yeah,
in case-
well, and it's
Sure,
not very
usually.
audible,
Should be.
right? Like you have to keep an ear out for police sirens,
Right.
or whatever. But
That's about it.
yeah.
But you can't suddenly decide to like go clean out your email inbox while you're on the road. I mean, I suppose you could try.
Do you think auto-driving cars will kill podcasts?
No, actually,
because people will be able to do other stuff with their hands.
I don't know. I think I sent out a tweet the other day that said, "Isn't it interesting that our solution to texting and driving wasn't to stop texting while driving, but rather to make the cars drive themselves, right? So you can stay engaged basically in this device. But I think the people who like podcasts will probably just keep listening to them.
Oh,
But-
sure.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little dip, little tiny dip.
Yeah, I feel like there will be some people who will be like, oh, I can do emails. And I don't think it'll be people stopping, but I think it'll be people consuming less.
Right.
Then maybe this is just me putting myself in everybody's shoes, but like I've been listening to a lot less podcast. I have a really large backlog of episodes right now.
Yeah.
Mostly because all of our podcast scheduled days have been weird and haven't been on the road as much, and we've been traveling a lot. So I haven't in Vegas. I don't want to listen to a podcast. I'm going to go and do a thing.
Yeah, I used to listen to podcasts a lot in the car, but I don't anymore. I also used to listen to like 12, 15 podcasts or something, just like a ton of them all the time. But at a certain point I had to cull it down, and so now it's like, I've got like 4 or 5 podcasts that I listen to, and I guess for me, I do use podcasts in a similar way that a lot of people might read books. Like I do it at night when I'm winding down.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm doing stuff like I got to brush my teeth. I can't sit at my computer and watch stuff while I'm brushing my teeth, so might as well listen to an episode of
How
Radio
long do you
Lab or
brush your
something.
teeth? Like a good 15-minute
An hour and
brush.
a half. Yeah.
No, I mean I'm pretty thorough. But
Well, I'll listen to podcasts in bed, and I'll set like a 15-minute
Yep.
sleep timer, and usually
sure,
usually
yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah.
I just do the episode sleep timer, like when it's done.
Really?
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
I
you want
don't
to know?
wanna
You want to
lose-
know where you? where you
I don't
left
want to
off,
lose it.
I just-
lose my
okay,
progress.
I just stop the podcast and go to sleep.
Yeah. Hey, David, thanks for the suggestion. I'll listen to that.
Oh yeah, David suggesting
episode.
the Art of Manliness podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
that specific
Yeah,
episode.
they have some good stuff too. It's, yeah.
I guess for me, I do like a lot of shows. I tend because I do on the lookout for chord killers where I suggest and share recommendations for shows. I end up watching stuff. I end up watching a little bit of a lot of stuff, and then at any one point, I'll have something that I'm trying to dive into.
Yeah. So do you? It sounds like you might have the same thing. Like you always have this itch to multitask.
Yes.
No matter what content you're consuming.
But
But when you don't, you feel really good that you were immersed in that content for that thing. right?
Yeah,
It's like
and I
that.
think it's because the editing work that we do, there's not much room to multitask, right? Like I can maybe listen to something if I'm color grading or something, but I really need to pay attention if I'm doing editing and cuts and camera stuff. But when I watch TV, like I don't know, usually I can actually give myself some focus on that, and if I'm multitasking, it's either a reflection on the show or it's just like I'm scrolling through Twitter or something right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I also got my my movie pass card.
Oh. Congratulations.
And the place there's a theater very close to my house that accepts it. I mean, I guess they all are supposed to accept it, but it's not an Alamo, so it's not very busy. And so I feel like
nice.
I can maybe try to go see movies a little bit.
Real quick, can you just take Titus off of this monitor? It's making
We've
me
just
laugh
been
every
looking-
time I look at him.
He looks like a failed Smash Mouth
Oh,
experiment.
no.
I'm sorry, Titus.
Oh God, those highlights. Oh, it's bad.
It was a different time.
Oh yeah, I know, but that didn't make it good.
I like
Sure.
going to see a movie by myself, like the first showing of a weekday when no one's going to be there.
Yeah.
Like that's like the best
yeah.
time.
Well, that's the thing with the movie pass is that you can't order tickets online with it. And so I feel like if I watch something, it would have to be something either at a weird time where it won't be full or it likely won't be full, or it's an older. Like I went and saw Spider-Man Homecoming for the first time last week. It was great. It was great. And by virtue of it being free, I felt okay watching another superhero movie when I had said I would not watch superhero movies for a while.
Fair enough.
How was Donald Glover in that?
He was good.
I heard
He
he
has
was in it, but I never
Yeah,
saw it.
he's
Really?
in 2 different scenes. He's kind of a minor character.
Okay.
But he's very good in it.
Glad to
He's
hear
very
it.
good.
Yeah.
So there's that. I do video games every so often, but it's also I end up doing this thing with video games where I'll play something for like a little while, for 2 to maybe 10 hours, and then I'll just need to jump to something else. Which means I end up getting a bunch of games and maybe not finishing all of them if they're a little too long, or if and actually there's a specific type of game that I do tend to like and will go back to, which is games that are not like, you know how they have those Ubisoft games where it's like you look at the map and it's full of all sorts of different time trials and things to collect, and I like a similar thing where it's like almost like a scavenger hunt. It's like the Infamous games are really good about this, because they had the first games, like there are all these glowing shards on these cityscapes, so you're like using your superpowers and flying around and collecting shards, and it's just this fun like jungle gym sort of moment.
Crackdown as well.
Yeah, Crackdown. I just got Unbox, which is almost exclusively that, where you're like going around and collecting golden duct tape, and you're doing these little missions
That sounds fun.
Yeah, you play a cardboard box, and it's all 3D platforming. It's really
awesome.
cute. It's pretty cute, and it's pretty cheap too.
One of the games I got sucked into was Tiny Wings on the phone. Did you
Oh
ever
yeah,
have Tiny?
the
little
right.
And for some reason, the simplicity of it, and it looked designed well. The music was really good about it. I mean, one of the things, I think you and I have the same hobby of occasionally producing electronic music on the side. So listening to that and hearing the music, I was just like, even if I wasn't playing the game, I could probably just listen to that. That always makes it more fun to play when the music is spot on. But there was another one that I was thinking of in the same. Oh, but I haven't ever tried it out. It was Monument Valley. Has anybody played that?
Yeah, Monument Valley is great.
Familiar.
No.
Okay.
As seen on House of Cards, Monument Valley.
Yes.
Really?
Actually, that is why I looked it up. Is because
really?
the House of Cards episode. I looked at it and I was like, that game looks awesome. I'm gonna go see what that is.
Yeah.
I was like, what
There's
game was on
another-
House of Cards? Yeah.
So there's a sequel. There's a Monument Valley 2 out now, and then I think there's some other.
Monument Peak. It's a sequel.
No, no. There's another game that just came out that I think is getting like some promotional space or whatever on the App Store, and it looks like Monument Valley, but I think it's more. I think it's a little more like what is it, like visual brain teasers,
Okay.
like Escher sort of
Yeah, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are good games too.
I recently played Data Wings. That's pretty good.
Data Wings.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
I don't know that one.
it's got kind of similar mechanics to Tiny Wings, where like you're kind of trying to ride a curve, but in this case you're playing as like a carrier for data, and you're basically taking orders from this becoming sentient computer thing, and so you're like you're playing in a phone, trying to get these things done, and it's got really great
Like
music.
transferring data packets.
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
And it's like a 2 to 3 hour game, and it's really delightful, and there's a fun story to it.
Is that
Sounds
a
fun.
mobile game?
Yeah.
Cool. Data Wings. So yeah, you mentioned music, but I usually can't, when I'm usually doing music that's not an unwinding thing. That's actually something that usually like gets me really tense.
Yeah, no, same. I mean, I was thinking more spare time
But yeah,
kind of
yeah.
activities, but it's not so much to free our mind of the mortal coil.
I do. I'm in a Pathfinder group, a D&D Pathfinder group every week, and as much as I want it to be something to unwind with, I usually end up getting. I've been like kind of distracted in our sessions lately, or just like for a while now. And actually, last night I did a one-off with the DM about my character and like fleshed him out a little bit more, and now I feel a little more invested. So I need to be good about doing it, because it's an online group, and so I'm at the computer, and at any point I can just pull up Twitter or Discord or something and like, hey, I'm not talking, I can look away, and I know it's really bad, and I feel like I think I'm not invisible. I'm sure it has not escaped anybody else's grasp that I'm not always paying attention.
Yeah, it's always better in person if you can.
Oh yeah,
What's your character?
a monk.
Okay, so like
A monk
fists.
Yeah, unarmed.
Excellent.
Yeah. We just did we did like a little one-off backstory thing where I got a special tattoo from my goddess.
Okay.
To
Like personally?
I was chosen to give it. An elder monk gave it to me.
Okay.
But I was chosen.
I was like, damn, that's a rad goddess.
right.
Tattoo gun.
Have some ink. Yeah, right. Let's worship that goddess. Yeah.
So it's a goddess of the hunt.
Oh,
And,
nice.
So it's The Witcher. Got it.
A little. I mean, Witcher didn't invent gods, though.
But they've got the hunt.
Okay. Oh yeah, sure. Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other like unwinding stuff? I do like listening to music. I think music is the other reason I don't listen to as many podcasts, because when I get in the car, if there's nothing like I really and like it's caught my eye, I will just turn on Spotify and play something. Because the commute is such where it's like an hour trip, a round trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I could listen to an album in about that time or something.
I'd go with the Discover Weekly playlist.
Oh, it's
Like,
so
Every
good.
is great.
Every week, it's just
I like Release Radar a little better.
Okay.
Because it focuses on artists that you know and have in your library.
cool. Well, I'll try that one.
And
Yeah.
you should try it out.
For me, I feel like I keep enough tabs on the people who I like really care about that like I know when they put out new stuff. So Discover Weekly is better for me, just in that it's like every week there's 1 to 5 songs that I like really dig.
That's
with.
really good, right.
Who it's like I've never heard this name in my
I wouldn't have
entire
ever
life.
come across this.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing it out.
I've found like a lot of new artists in the past year or so because of all the streaming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, I'm not tied into the social element of it, like knowing when they've got a new EP.
Yeah.
Or it's like it's a big name that of course people know that this person has a new album or something. So that's why I dig Release Radar, because I apparently have enough people in my library that every week someone has something sort of new.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Or it'll pull something from a recent album, like it's been doing with Foster the People.
Yeah, I think music also similarly for me kind of pushed out podcasts at a certain point, because for me it was like I started to realize back when I lived in San Marcos that like music is really important for me to like regulate emotion for me, because I've got something wrong with my brain where it's just like I just don't feel emotion most of the time.
Okay.
Like or at the very least everything's like muted, so it's like 30% what I feel like normal people feel. But music allows me to tap into some of that and feel it properly.
Yeah.
So I listen to a ton of music every day just to like put myself in the right moods.
Yeah. I've noticed like on shoots you'll even keep an earbud in now.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
assuming to listen to music when we're off.
It helps with that, and it also kind of helps with the anxiety of being around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So just Kids Bop.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids pop. Now that's what I call music 17.
Oh, 17 is a good one.
Yeah,
17 is-
way better than 16.
Isn't it weird how like so ahead of the curve Kids Bop was on the terminology of bop?
Huh.
Like bop is like is a real big term now.
Yeah.
That's a bop.
That's
It
bop.
slaps.
Wait, what?
It's lit.
Okay, I've heard it slaps and
That's a
it's
bop.
lit, but
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that as a bop.
bop must be some new thing.
It is
spend more
I don't know,
time
maybe
on Reddit, I
It's not
guess.
a big thing, but it is a newer
That's a
thing.
bop.
It's a bop. I don't know. Whatever.
Different crowds.
Yeah.
Different communities have different
I
jargon.
guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
I got none of this.
I mean, I follow a lot of gangster rap, and they haven't accepted the term yet.
No,
but
right,
like
exactly.
K-pop, you know,
Sure.
they bop.
K-pop bops. K-pop bop.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's going to do it
jeez.
for the show. And I feel like we just did a whole segment of our off-topic stuff.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
pretty much.
Let's do plugs. We'll go, as we always do, in Bizarre Briefing tradition, reverse chronological order. So, David.
Oh no, this is my actual hair.
I'm not the new guy. All right.
What do I get to do here? What's this? A
You can
minimum
plug something. You wanna
podcast?
talk minimum, yeah.
You could go to, I think it's bit.ly/minimum podcast, or it might be minimum-podcast.
Fact
I should
check
know
that.
this kind of stuff, you know. Let's see where it goes.
Let's
if
see,
you go.
bit.ly/minimum
Hear it
podcast.
every
month. I mean,
Yeah.
One word, all lowercase.
Yep. The
and it looks
latest
like you
one
just
has explicit stuff in it, so that's good.
Ooh.
Drop the F-bomb.
Too hot for TV.
Actually, the first 2 minutes are always a little different than from the rest of the episode, and I like this one because I tell a story about getting rickrolled while I was on hold.
Oh yeah.
And what I used to think the lyrics to that song were.
That's
What a tease!
So,
I gotta know.
I gotta know.
And you'll
what
know
you thought
within
it
2
was.
minutes there, yeah. And
It's
then,
a solid episode.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
Max.
that's it.
Max, what's up?
Oh, yeah, you can follow my rantings on Twitter. Trying to get better about tweeting whatever bullshit I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm seeing you tweet a little more lately.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my usual complaints. You can also find me on Twitch, just kind of doing stuff and, shooting aliens and doing the whole thing. So
Is it DJ Old Fashioned there as well?
there it is, DJ Old Fashioned. Thank you. And Excalibur 025 on the internet somewhere. I don't
Okay.
know. You'll find me. So always a good
Sounds
time.
like your dark web accounts.
Yeah, right.
Excalibur.
Stealing your SSN.
Like, that's your
and
hacker name.
Googling about it.
Right.
Yeah. But I
Brant,
wish.
what's going on with you? Have you streamed? You were streaming the other day, I feel like.
I streamed all the way to the end of The Witcher 3.
Oh, very cool.
So I
nice.
did like an 8-hour stream or something where I was like, I think this is the end. And then also the night before I thought it was going to be the end, and it just kind of kept going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that, and sometimes I do edit streams and stuff over there. Twitch.tv/Gadawag. Also twitter.com/Gadawag.
What is Gadawag?
Okay, so I believe
Always
this was
wondered that.
explained in a previous episode.
A little bit, but let's refresh people.
Yeah. So in, I want to say 6th grade, I wanted to create a game development studio.
Oh, okay.
Very ambitious as a 6th grader. And so I was like, well, obviously, the most important part of any game development studio
name.
is the name.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I pondered on it for a little while. I came up with a couple of names that were actually already taken by game development studios. And
Electronic Arts was taken.
yeah, Sony Entertainment. Who would have thought?
Konami Computer Entertainment of Japan. Like weird, specific stuff was taken.
Yeah. So I came up with an acronym that was "Gamers are the ones who are gaming," and then it shortened down to Gadawag. And I was a very smart sixth grader. I looked for SEO results, and it was completely empty
And you're like,
on Gadawag.
Nice.
So I was like,
Nailed it.
hell yeah, I'm gonna totally dominate the search results on Gadawag.
Yeah. And look at you now.
Yeah. And then, well, also then it went from a game development studio to a shirt printing company.
Okay.
We printed off maybe like 3 shirts.
Sounds about right.
Same
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
Still counts.
And then at a certain point in high school, it just kind of became a moniker.
Yeah. Gadawag sounds like
cool.
like the name of a Kickstarter project for cats, like a cat product.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Like, or maybe it's like the name of, you know how they have
It's like a second tail.
yeah, well, you know how they have those like ears that people can wear, and it's like hooked up to your brain, and it'll wiggle the ears.
Sure.
But like a tail,
That'd be weird.
Okay.
a tail
that'd be
version of
weird.
that.
Uh-huh.
A Gadawag.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
For
Well, I would not.
Yeah. Also, Instagram.com/Gadawag. We changed the name of the Modern Rogue Instagram because I didn't want to get made fun of anymore.
The Modern Rouge or whatever.
So,
It used to be
now
the Modern Rouge.
Now it's a very bland Modern Rogue show. Which is much easier to spell, I guess. Also, it's now in the description of every Modern Rogue episode because I went and changed all the Modern Rogue descriptions recently. So I decided to put it in there. You get some fun behind the scenes photos and stuff like that, I guess.
Very cool. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at BrackHasBRYCS. I also stream here on the Night Attack channel sometimes. I've been crazy with the schedules moving around, so I haven't been able to do that too much lately. But feel like it's time for me to pick up another game and stream on the channel. I did that with Nier Automata last month.
Did you get all the endings?
I got the big story endings.
Okay.
And some of the littler ones. But the problem with all of the extra endings, the 21 other endings, is that most of them are not fulfilling at all. They're not interesting or satisfying in any way, which is unfortunate. But that is also, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm now starting to get spam text messages.
Oh, I heard about that as a thing.
That's awful. Fucking
I used to get those a lot.
Really?
This one has my name. This one knows my first name.
Oh, that's creepy.
It also says it's from Mom.
Yeah, no, the thing about Nier was like I finished the final ending and I was like, okay, let's go see about some of these other endings because you get a chapter select sort of thing and they're like, okay, let's see what's going on, and all of them are just like, hey, at this point in a story mission, just don't do the story mission and you'll get game overed for not being in the mission area, and it will say something almost cutesy or weird. I'm like, okay, that's not a very satisfying ending.
Speaking of not satisfying endings.
Okay.
I thought you were just going to cut it out right there. I think Codes from Home's got the title for September 2017.
Oh, sure.
you
Millennial
go.
Minute. It bops.
Oh, just it bops.
Oh,
It bops. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to get some Destiny 2 rating in, I happen to know a guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also a quick addendum. If you go to Instagram.com/ModrenRouge, that is now a fan account that is run by fans.
Oh,
Really?
cool.
So-
You
That's
just
fun.
like, is that someone took it or did
Yep.
you give over the credentials?
Somebody took
Oh,
it.
so after
Oh,
you
neat.
switched the thing, it automatically freed up the user. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
Okay.
So
Okay.
go there if you want to see that.
Hopefully they take care of it. Because we've definitely spent a couple months telling people that was it.
We only spent 1 month.
Okay.
Well, on this show.
Yeah, yeah.
We spent a little bit of time in the Discord,
Yeah.
which patreon.com/monorogue. Get into the Discord.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
This show is called The Bizarre Briefing. You just listened to it. You can find out more old episodes.
Or
get
maybe you
links
just
to-
skip to the end.
Or yeah, maybe.
Well,
Welcome to the
that's-
end. You can find out more at bizarrebriefing.com. You can get old episodes, time codes, download links, all of our links and stuff. It's very, very cool. You can also find the video version of this podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/scamstuff. We try to record this podcast at the end of the month, and we've actually done it for once at the end of the month before the month was over.
When's it gonna go live on the internet?
Oh, fucking
December?
December. So our next episode will oh, man. See, normally we would do it on the last Tuesday of the month.
That's Halloween.
But that's Halloween.
Everybody's dressed up for the Bizarre Briefing.
Oh yeah.
What if we did the Boozar briefing?
Ah.
Can we?
We'll
drink?
workshop it.
Because
The Bizarre Haunting?
well, I like
Better or
Bizarre
worse?
because they can have
Yeah,
booze
I
as
mean,
well.
We can all have. That'd be great.
Okay.
Booze and booze.
There's nothing stopping that from happening in
Yeah,
this one
right.
right now.
Maybe we do one and then the other one in parentheses. After it. Like those song titles.
Yeah, the Boozar briefing, parentheses, the Bizarre Haunting. Or you do like old timey like cartoons, the Bizarre Briefing or the Bizarre Haunting.
Yeah. Or just
Sure.
like a bunch of semicolons, and then so it like it's the subheader.
Yeah. So you'll see this episode. We record these episodes live near the end of the month at twitch.tv/Night Attack, and hopefully they come out sometime after that on the podcast feed. So thank you everybody for a good September 2017, and we'll see you next month.
Das Vidania.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.